Right, and you're not
Okay,
listed
you're
lots
on.
of bits here. Hello.
You're on, buddy. Alright, so I have finally scratched that itch and fixed those faults with the thing. I can't wait to see if it works in demo
Right. Are you presenting or
mode.
what's happening?
If you give me half a second.
Come on, man. Speed up. Come on.
Sorry.
The world's burning. Come on.
Alright, so here's the File Explorer and yeah, there we go. I can access the thing without zooming. Cool. Still a bit janky, like it jumps around, but whatever.
So what are you showing me here? What am I looking at?
Well, because remember before when I was unzoomed in, I
on a
couldn't
small
actually
thing.
use the screen. Like I couldn't navigate through the,
Yeah, because
you know?
you're on a shit screen ratio. Yeah.
Yeah.
I never noticed this, so it's a
Dude, it was driving me mad because I'd go to click on it, and then my first click would resize it, which would clear my click, and so my second click never counted as a part of a double click, and I was like, "Fuck, you can't hit this thing."
No man, you're gonna need a bigger screen.
Well, it's just I've come down to it's the presentation thing.
Okay,
And
let's go.
let me show you the stuff I did. It was awesome.
I love
You like it, hey?
the arrow that just like conjurefully going. Oh right, yeah, cool. It helps amazingly well.
A lot, right? And then by compressing the tool calls, it makes it feel more intelligent rather than like receiving a whole bunch of debug data.
Yeah. The only thing I would say in using this, it's been brilliant. But the very last thing it says, and it's like, right, I'm done, would
Yeah.
be useful to actually still be displayed.
What do you mean?
Because
The last thing.
I've been asking for like test runs, and it's like bum, 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 all that sort of thing, all compressed, very nice.
Yeah.
And then in the last one, it's like, are you done? Are you finished? Oh, right. I'm going to
Well, yeah,
expand.
it's you're done when the progress bar stops. Because I also, if you had been watching, I gave you a busy bar on the tool calls as well. I'll show you that in action just because, yeah, because if you're not going to pay attention, I will.
Well, it's got to be more obvious than that.
Dude, the art of UI is subtle. Subtle.
I hate UI. This is why I want to be natural language over voice only.
I have a dark secret to share. I actually love UI, and it hurts me when you tell me that I'm not good at it because I haven't had any budget to spend on it. That's why.
Man, did you just say you love UI?
I do. I do love UI because getting it right is good. I'm trying to make a minimal thing, right? But I think you will agree with me that you cannot actually remove UI. You can only reduce it. Right?
Well, if you've got, we might get demonetized if we do this, but let me show you something, which I sent sent over to a similar comment, which is why are you so? This is with Marla. Why are you so keen on just getting a voice only? Let me bring this up. I think I can play.
Check this out, dude. This is my this is a test that you made that has become my gold standard for file calls.
Yeah, it's a good one, isn't it?
This is a great one.
Oh, good. That was months ago, wasn't it?
Yeah. I need more like that.
Yeah, it's compound.
See, there's the busy bar on the router, and now the
oh yeah, I did see it.
Right, and now there's a busy bar
yeah.
on the tool. Right? And when the busy bar goes away, it means it's done. And also, you'll also notice that the input box is disabled while it's busy. So if I do that again, see it's disabled, you can't do anything. And then when it completes, then the busy bar comes back.
Yeah.
Like that. Oh, I just found a bug. I can actually enter empty text and it will stay busy forever. Lol.
That's great.
There we go. Yet another.
I'm not sure. Did I send you this Scotty thing? No, I didn't. Oh, it doesn't matter.
Okay, so what are we up to?
Okay, so right, I've been messing around with tests now. Part of it, I think, is my ignorance
Ignorance.
and idiocy, uh, which would be good to deal with.
Okay.
Take me around the back and give me a pistol whipping. But I don't know whether it's me or it's something that is not happening that I think should be happening.
Okay, so you want to show me your screen?
Yep, I will now. Okay, so. Is that the right screen? No, it's good enough for now.
Did you like the song that it wrote about all the bots?
Yeah, I did get a little bit, geek sniped into creating a Ravi Burns version, but then I realized that was a big waste of time.
Oh yeah. Oh, look at this all zoomed out. Man, squint, squint, squint.
I can put it onto a bigger screen, and
No,
it'll
that's
probably
cool.
be
No,
better.
it wouldn't make any difference because the Quest app demotes it.
Right. Okay. So, what I've been doing here is, could you look away from the screen while I make sure I don't
Sure, buddy.
leak anything? Just gonna click on that. Gonna maximize. Yeah, no, that's good. Anything in the other direction? Nobody cares about that. Okay, right, we're good. Okay, so what I've been trying to do is I started off by running router.test.md,
Router test, yeah.
router, and got a fail on that. But the test is so simple. We can't understand why. I mean, hey, there's not much to this test. This guy should really get it, right?
Can you send me the link to that thread?
To this, yeah, sure.
I'm really glad you pushed me to re-enable the link. Oh, you want to tell me? Yeah, I'm looking.
Is and not that I've got anything really worth leaking, to be honest.
Oh, you never know. Okay, we're good?
Yeah, good. So there's the link. So this is quite a crowded link because, right, I'll take you up to the start of this session all the way up.
So you'll also notice that parallel tool calls show under one tool group now. So it means that you can tell, first of all, which agent made the tool call in the thread. Yeah. And second of all, you can tell when an agent made multiple tool calls all at once.
Okay. You might need to take that through there. I have to get through this because I don't entirely understand, but I kind of get what you're thinking about, but I need to see it.
Why are you so deeply nested in remotes?
Well, let me show you. So this was fresh. Okay, so file replace the contents of. Now we've got the thing where appear to be committing to GitHub.
Where are you committing?
Right,
on the platform?
I am committing in here, right? So I've got test gen there.
Yeah.
It's like I keep on doing this sync. It's like agents list. Okay. Right angle. Boom. Okay. That seems, and this is just admin, and this is where it's my stupidity, nothing to do with.
Okay, and then you click sync changes, and what happens?
Well, then, the thing is, nothing happens. So I go to GitHub.
What? No, you haven't clicked sync.
Well, I just did.
What? But it's
I've been clicking this thing like multiple times, saying, for fuck's sake, just like sync. God damn it! Come on.
Good God damn it. Okay. Can you bring up a console?
Yeah, sure. What, just on this or
no? In inside VS Code.
Yeah, where's the console? Yeah.
and then type get status.
My home keys.
Oh no, it worked. It worked. So what's your issue?
Why is it? Well, I don't know. Maybe it's just maybe it's just me. I don't know.
Anyway, whatever it is.
Fuck's sake, man! There it is. Okay.
Whatever it is. Last
Right.
delivery was unsuccessful. Timed out. Okay, so it's not syncing to the HAL platform. So I'll have to deal with that for you.
All right. Okay. So it's not.
But it has just synced up to GitHub. So there's that. But very soon I'll make this not even a problem for you. So like, you'll only be in our platform, and pushing to GitHub will not really be part of our workflow. It'll just be like a backup.
Yeah, that's no problem. And the workaround is this files replace the contents of this with that. So I've just been hacking around it.
Oh yeah, I got to give you true edit capabilities, and then you'll be
so
away.
That was the agents list. And that was because my local, when I was looking at it, the agents list, the available agents list was still on Switchboard. So thanks for the heads up that it's moved and it's now a reference. But I didn't see that until this point. Now then, what was doing test gen? Okay, so now this is not anything close to a demo or anything. I'm just going to take you through my life over the last few hours.
That's cool, buddy.
Test gen could not be found in the current directories. It's like, yeah, okay, so that's what we just talked about. And it's like, test gen, switchboard doesn't know it. This was all the thing where then I texted you saying, why can't it see it? I've just updated it. Create agents testgen.md with contents. Boom. So I was just like forcing it down its throat. Yep. Right, okay. And then it's like, okay, successfully. Great, brilliant. Switchboard, I want to talk to agents testgen. And it's like, boom, I've got testgen. Brilliant. Testgen is the one that I wrote months ago. I've not updated it at all.
Right.
But what it does is take an ERD and then create suggested tests. So this is all generated. Okay. So just from Hammer, it suggested. I asked for 10 tests for customers, 10 tests for customer agents, and here they all are, and so on. So this is just picking up where I left off last time with the test generation. Now, the next step, which is actually put in, and there might be a prompt at the end, I said, well, let's get interaction between 2 actors, and then let's get interaction between 3 actors, and it's going to get large quite quickly. The reason being, this gives me something to edit. So as a meat brain, I can look through those and say, ensure that customer can request a pickup for the recycling services. Yeah, sounds reasonable. This is not the right template, although that's another topic I need to talk about. And it's like, okay, so that's a test. Now, as you can see, there's a large number of tests. These are all generated. So what I expect to do is generate a whole bunch of tests given an ERD. So you start with an ERD, you put it through test gen, and you say, anyone who can mess with the system, give me 10 things how they could mess with it. And based on the role. So ensure that the J manager can access maintenance records for trucks. Sure, okay, fine. Now, take that, and the next step I was going to do is, well, number one, reprompt testgen to use the correct format, although I quite like what it's come up with in terms of ID. Probably useful at some point, and a description, which is useful, but it's slightly different from the test prompt. So this was at this point. So I'm now talking to testgen. It's like, okay, I want you to create a test for Hammer. And it's like, this got a bit weird, and this is probably almost certainly test gen. It's like, you know about Hammer because I've where's test gen? Test gen. There's that. I've told it about agents.
You haven't told it about agents. You just gave it functions that can do agent things.
So I've got to explicitly say if I ask you to read something, use this.
Yeah, you got to tell it what to. You got to prompt it to use those functions. The functions alone appear to be not enough for it to work it out.
So would it be if I were to put, for example, a catch-all saying if I talk about anything to do with reading an agent, this is the one. Writing agent, this is the one. Updating an agent, and so on. If I give it a description.
Yeah. And give me just a second, and I'll try and figure out what the actual prompt descriptions for those functions are. Because what I really need to give you is the ability to see the agent fully expanded.
Oh, that'd be really
right. Because I'm sorry that you don't have that. You should be able to look at it and see it fully expanded, links expanded, functions expanded, see it as OpenAI is about to receive it.
Because otherwise it's hunting and pecking.
Yeah, it's a real pain, eh? I'll bump that up the list of things to do then as well. I'd wanted that for a while, but because you never screamed about it, I was like, oh, well, it must be other things that are important.
Yeah, that would be very polite and helpful. It's not going to change anything core, but it's going to speed things up a bit.
That's what's important. I think core is speeding things up, really, because so long as you're able to do useful work, speeding up that useful work is good time spent.
It's the doubling time, yeah. So on this, what we'll do is, I think probably in the prompt, if we could say something like, here are the descriptions of the actions that you have available, and leave it for it to decide instead of having to specify. Because I don't want to specify every time. It's like, if I ask you to read an agent, you've got to call agents read. It's like, oh, that's symbolic. Likewise with write, and so on.
Yeah, why was it not being able to do those things? Like, what was it saying?
So it looks like, please provide the ERD. It's like, I've told it. It's right. It just asks, how can I assist you? Please provide an ERD. It's at here. And it looks like you mentioned the ERD is located at here, so it knows.
Oh, no, I know what's happened there, dude. That's fucking obvious.
What's that?
In this bot, it was given the agent's functions. Now, if I can just stall my reply to you long enough to pull something up on the screen, so that I can hopefully help you in your intermediate time. So if you go to Artifact Isolates Agents here, you'll see the God, I need to fix this too. I need to do a merge into main and release a version for us, because I think we're kind of at a stable-ish point. If you go into you have to go into the next branch.
Ooh, right.
Fuck. I'll just look. Sorry, buddy. I'll fix that for you right fucking now. I'll say that the default branch is actually now. Oh shit! No, don't do that. Switch to another branch. Next, okay, here we go. Updatey pants. All right. Unintended consequences.
Okay. Doesn't tell you what those are. That's not very helpful.
It just adds to the
It's just
suspense.
anxiety. It's like,
Right, so here's an incognito tab. You would go to the artifact repo. It has dropped you into Next by default. You can see actually a link to Hal here, which is a submodule, but we won't get distracted by that shiny thing. You go into isolates. We're pulling in from the agents isolate. Inside the agents isolate, you will see there's always this parameters object, and then the describe text is what the bot sees as its prompt. So when you see read, this is the prompt it's getting. Read an agent file. The contents will be returned as a string. If the contents are not formatted correctly as an agent, an error will be thrown. You asked it to read an ERD. So
it's an old one from 2 months ago. So
yeah, which is not an agent file, but you've only given your bot the tools that say that their description is for reading an agent file, updating an agent file, writing an agent file, and it's also very strongly worded that there will be an error if it is not an agent file. And so I think that the bot made the right choice in not using any of those tools because they really don't suit. What you should do is pass in files read is what you should do, because files read has random access to the file system.
Right, so it's not trying to format it. Right.
That's right.
Or
now,
better, I would update the agent to be the right format, which would be nicer.
right. So the other thing you can do using the router now is you could go /files read in agents/hammer, and then go /testgen. How about now?
Right, gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, that's a hack around, but the
Hack-around?
onus is no. The onus is on me to actually, because this is an old bot, right?
Right.
That I just pulled off from Dreamcatching, stuck it in,
Right.
and give it a go.
Right,
So
right.
where is the format that it requires? So, for example, again, I'm kind of being a bit arsey in that I'm trying to use only the platform and not go out to other tools.
What other tools would you go out to?
Well, at this point, it's
You
like
traitor.
your agent is not formatted correctly. It's like, okay, so tell me the format. So where would I inside of the?
Who told you? Can you show me the error that said your agent is not formatted correctly?
Well, no, it didn't come up with that. It just said
What?
no.
Who said no?
Bot said no. 1 second. Right, I'm going to take over your screen. Is that right?
That, mate. Go for it.
I'm just going to do it now. Okay, so it's like, it looks like you mentioned the ERD. It knows where the ERD is.
Yeah.
And then I said, please provide the ERD or specific details. It's
Yeah,
like,
because it doesn't have any. It doesn't have any tools to read it. So if you in the File Explorer open up, what is this thing? What is the the File Explorer in Platform, in HAL, yeah. Open up. What was the name? Open up TestGen.
Where's TestGen? Wrong place. TestGen. That's TestGen.
Yeah, and now you're trying to run TestGen as an agent, right?
Yeah.
It's got no tools. It can't even read a file. You haven't given
that place actually. Do a sec. What am I trying to do? Oh fuck! Sorry. No, I just realised what I've done wrong. Okay, that is just stupid.
Human error.
Right. No, it's a cut and paste problem. TestGen is not what I just showed you. So, agents, TestGen here, where is it? That's the output from the last time I ran in another session, the tests. This is not TestGen.
Okay.
TestGen is this. I cut and paste the wrong thing.
Ta-da. Okay. Ah, fuck! I should give you actual file system editor writing.
That'd be really useful, because at the moment I'm just doing cut and paste,
Yeah.
and then say replace the contents of this
Yeah.
file with
Thank you.
following.
Thank you for persisting. I will. Watching you do things like this is how I notice when what's needed.
Yeah.
Because I'm I'm rushing a lot to try and deliver you stuff, and then I kind of need these sessions to be like, oh yeah, that's a real easy one that you would benefit from a lot.
Yeah, it really would be, because I cut and paste buffer discipline has obviously quite a lot to be. Let's just see. Hold on a second. Let's just go back. Right, what it said was,
I think there's something funny going on.
Create test gen here. Right, so that's correct. That's the right thing I said. What did it say back? It's like, test gen is updated. And then I want to talk to test gen. And then I'm talking to test gen. Okay. No.
Ach, no.
What the hell?
Ach, no.
Why is that?
That's not how you make tests.
That's completely different. Right, okay, so, let's trace this. Because that's not what I expected. Okay, so, I said, basically, files. Create agents test gen with contents. This.
Yeah,
right?
which has no instructions.
Right. Which starts with, but leave that to one side. This is just a level. Ignore that. We'll deal with that later.
Okay.
So,
deal
starts
with
with test generator, okay? So that's what we're looking for. Test generator objective. And it goes, I'm going to feel really silly at the end of this, because I know it's done it right, and I've not done it right. Okay, and it says, we've updated agents test gen. Okay. I want to talk to agents test gen. It's done it correctly. And then I said the ERD is at agents hammer. Now the weird thing is, now I'm in agents test gen.
Yeah.
And this is not test gen. This is a completely different file.
What? But that's what you wrote.
No, I asked for that. Oh, fuck. I know. Sorry. Probably later on I've done the replace the contents of test gen with that. I bet I've done a replace with the wrong cut and paste. Further down.
Also, I need to modify the files thing. I no longer think that update with a regex is sufficient. I think I should also give you give the bot tools that can replace line numbers.
Yeah.
Because regex it fails a lot. It accidentally has multiple matches, but line numbers have no matches.
Yeah, okay.
I love this UI, man. Like, it's very compact.
It's actually quite fun to use.
Yeah, it's nifty. The router thing, the router symbol really made it for me. I was like, hey, that's fucking sweet.
Well, it does. Unfortunately, it exposes your ignorance and idiocy.
I've been having a blast with the assistant, dude. Like, chatting to O1, and then you're like, hey, GPT-4o, come and do this thing. Or, 4o Mini, turn that into a song. Like, it's really fun. Yeah. This is what I mean by parallel calls. See how all these calls were actually done as one big ass.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Right? That. It was one agent call that did that.
Cool. And I expanded these because originally they were all, I think, as far as I remember, it wasn't like this.
They start expanded. I made them start expanded now too, because they're folded at the very top, and so once you do unfold it,
that's right. I remember it being much more compact, but I wanted to dig back and what have I done wrong here? Just for my own benefit.
What are you doing?
I've at some point written over the test gen agent with the output from the agent. That's got to be me. It's got to be me.
I hope it's you. Otherwise, it's
Where?
me.
Yeah. Right, okay, well, let's start this from the start. And let's presume that it's me. So, hold on a second. Let's get rid of this screen here. Okay, so I'm going to go files, place the contents of agents stroke test. Let's go gen.md with the following. Okay, so
You would be better off, until
gen.
I can give you proper tools or an upgraded set of file tools, you'd be better off asking it to delete the file first and then write.
Okay, do that. Well, actually, this has been working fine.
Oh, okay. If it's been working, it's been working.
Yeah, I'll show you. This is what I've been using for a while. It's like, turns away. What I'm expecting is this test gen to update to the same as this, which is what I was actually asking for in the first place when somehow I got it wrong.
I love this new Switch model, dude. I really do.
It's not bad, man. It's not bad. It is it's pretty intuitive, especially this.
That helps, eh? Yeah. Who called it and what did you switch to?
Yeah, because it's like, what did I just do?
What are you doing? And yeah, I'm actually like quite loving it and finding it very useful as I start to use it more and more for my own stuff.
Yeah. This flickering
is annoying, eh? Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I'll fix that. I wanted to fix that, but again, that was not a mainline thing, and so I was like, oh, well, Scott will be mad, so I better just fucking...
It's a third degree kind of...
like epilepsy inducing.
Yeah.
So what have you done? UCL's reject. Repeated issues with executing test runs.
Hold on.
Why are you in test file runner?
I never asked for that. I asked files.
Yeah, that's your bot prompting being an error there. There we go.
Oh,
/files. It decided to switch you to the wrong bot. So you need to fix your
Why did it do that?
Well, open up the route. Go to the route message and see what the reasoning was. That.
Switch to the test runner agent to execute test runner.
It sort of... No, you didn't.
No, I did not do that.
It interpreted the file contents as part of your instruction. So you'll have to switch first and then enter the contents.
Okay. Right. Well, let's try that.
You could probably do it with just saying, "Hey, files, write out the content. Do what I just told you to," or something like that.
I wonder because this is getting quite a long thread. I wonder if it's trying to interpret, because I've been talking to the test runner.
It should be fine.
Yeah, it should be, but that was completely erroneous.
Yeah, so I would say just if you're like files execute or something like that, should be all you need to do, because see how it did swallow prompt? It's like, okay, it's ready now.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Place the contents of agents. What is it? Test. Is it test chain? Test underscore chain, I think. Yeah. Get the latest. Because that's the big arse of cut and paste. If you get task switched to something else,
yeah,
you can't actually remember.
What's
in your thing.
It's coming, dude. Very soon you'll be able to. I can imagine you spending the whole day in this platform.
Yeah, it's pretty close.
It's not far, eh?
It must be about 80% of the time.
It's knocking on the door of it.
Yeah.
Agents Files is quite the workhorse, man.
Yeah. Also, Switchboard I find is quite useful.
So long as
There's
it's not
something
in the way for everything, Switchboard is actually pretty good.
right, and in the my analogy mode with your infinite company size,
Yeah,
it's like if you know who you want to talk to, it's like Billy, get your ass in here.
yeah,
But Switchboard is your PA,
right.
so it's like no, it's not Billy. PA, who's the guy that has just started in accounts? Can't remember his name.
Yeah.
Get him in here. So, it's a kind of cognitive model. It kind of works. I know we had the trial of Switchboard.
That was fun, actually.
Oh, and HAL 3, I think, it needs to be another thing on text. HAL 3, poor HAL 3. I think
I never liked HAL 3, I gotta say. I know it's probably a backstabby to say that
you're
only now, but
you're you're not alone. I liked him. But I think he's now no longer needed. So we need to put him into the Hall of Fame or something.
the bot
Whatever we do
graveyard.
when you die. Yeah. Right. Okay. So now test gen is correct.
Yep, cool.
Okay. So now I should say something like test gen .md. I'm just gonna say hi, just to kick it off. Make sure it switches.
How would it know how to switch there? Because have you told it about? Does the router know about that? So now it does.
Yeah, no, previously updated switchboard.
Right, okay.
Well, no, actually, I updated info.
Yeah, that was the idea. I know it's painful, but
Info agents list, and right at the bottom, there's test gen. Yeah. So, right, so it knows about that. Okay, so now, what it's saying was, content have been updated with the new. Oh, if there's anything, contents of agent test gen has now been updated with the new specifications. Don't ask you to do that.
well, it did. It's just top and tailing what it did. It's like, yeah.
Oh no, test gen's fine. Yeah, okay. So, the ERD we are working with is at agents stroke hammer.
Yeah, but it still won't be able to read. So what you should do here is tell files to read it into thread.
Which is what you were saying before.
Yeah, and then
no, I did read it.
what? It didn't.
The ERD we were working with.
Yeah, but there's no tool call.
Please specify. Okay, right. So files.
You could tell it. You could tell it hard, like, hey, use the agent read function to read that file, and you could insist that it goes ahead and tries it because it is a valid agent file. It's just that the context you're calling it in is not an agent file.
Well, let's try that. So, what am I typing?
Read it in using agents underscore read function.
Using the
agents underscore read, because I have to turn it into underscore because OpenAI doesn't accept colons in the function names. And I can't have it as an underscore because then it doesn't strongly separate out what could be a legitimate function name and the isolate. So anyway, here we are. Can you expand the tool call so I can just know that it worked correctly? The tool call,
this one?
Yep, expand that, and now go down to the output. Oh yeah, so it read it correctly, which means that it was a correctly formatted. Looks like some sort of ancient alien hieroglyphic text.
It's quite ancient. It's like 2 months old.
True, right?
Okay, so what do I want to do? Right. For each of the actors being customer, agent, and all these are defined in the ERD, driver and duty manager, give me 10 actions that they could each take and express them as a test. Now, I previously did this kind of the long way around and got this, which was right. And what that allows you to do is, instead of starting from a blank sheet of paper and thinking, where's all the holes and niggles and that sort of thing, so instead of doing it manually, you just start increasing it. Now let's see what it does this time. The test gen is pretty good if you.
So test gen basically saves you from the blank sheet of paper, the blank canvas problem.
Yeah, all it's doing is generating effectively use cases, but
Okay.
use cases that the ERD insists that you should be able to do.
Okay, what model did you ask it to do that with?
It is the ERD model.
No. What AI model did you use? Did you use 01?
No, we're still in default, so we're default to 01, I think, don't we?
No, you default to 40 mini.
Okay, well, we can update that. That'd be interesting too. So, in order to
So
do that,
how I would get around this current API limitation, wherein 01 can't call tools, is that I would go into that thread you were just in. I would switch to 01 because now everything's in thread. And then I would say what you just said there for each of the actors, blah, 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 blah. And I would do that as 01, and then I would get 40 or files to just write what 01 said into the test file.
Yeah, but 01 doesn't know what I've told test gen. So test gen
Yes, it does.
got...
You mean 01 doesn't know the prompt of test gen?
It's changed again.
Can you pull up the tool call for agents test gen? The immediately above test tool call?
Yep. So this is what it was. It's basically files replace that.
Why did it change it?
I have no idea. Why is it writing to that?
Can you scroll down to the very bottom of the message?
Yeah, that's just the contents of what it was.
Yeah. And now what's the tool call? The tool call above the last message?
Above this one?
No, down. What's the last tool call that was made?
So it's like that was the response. And
Yeah, that's the tool call. Yeah, the last tool call, agent write. So it overwrote testgen.md.
Why is it overwriting itself?
I don't know, but you didn't tell it a path. Not that you should have had to, but something's wrong in the prompting, and it's.
So who's prompting this? This is agents write.
Well, testgen chose to call the agent write function based on what you just said to it.
Right. So what did I just say to it? For the actions, give me 10 actions that I could each take and express them as a test. So I was looking for an output there. I wasn't even writing.
Yeah, it decided that it should write for you instead of just tell you, and it chose to overwrite its own system prompt, which means that it was unaware. It was unaware of how the agent's file structure was. So here's a thought: is that the structure of HAL is effectively a form of ERD, And so
Yeah.
in the ERD, we should be able to put triggers that prohibit you from writing for certain things or can sort of error with the error containing information for the bot. So what should really have happened here is this bot goes to write to agents and it's like, sorry, that's a restricted folder. Only agents are allowed to be written there, blah, 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 blah. And then, so the rules of the ERD are being enforced even in hell.
Yes, and that is kind of a recursive thing, isn't it? An agent shouldn't be able to overwrite his own brain.
Yeah, and I was
You
suggesting
should have
that,
to go up one level at
well, I
least.
was suggesting there's maybe an even deeper separation that we can put in that any agent cannot write anything to the branch that it's on, which fully preserves its state. Like, so it becomes read only in its own branch, and then it can manipulate files on another branch, no problem, but it can never change anything about itself.
Yeah, but that is, I mean, isn't this like it's almost like a universal test as opposed to putting a hard stop in code? It's like if I said agents testgen.md rewrite testgen.md to have the words blah. You shouldn't be able to do that. You shouldn't be able to ask an agent
Right, but
to
what's
rewrite
what's wrong with saying that it can't write to its own branch ever? It can only write to a separate branch. What's wrong with that?
Well, in this case, what I was wanting was expecting a whole bunch of
Yeah, I know what you wanted, but
this stuff.
what's wrong with the model I just proposed to you?
Well, say if I was using an agent to build another agent, and then wanted to run that agent.
Yeah, so you'd run it in a separate branch. Why would you run it in your own branch and risk gutting your own thing? Like,
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I mean, that's
right? It's like saying that
that's fair enough, isn't it?
yeah, when you run an
Yeah,
executable, an exe file, the OS treats it as read only. It like it locks it,
yeah,
right? And
yeah.
all we're saying is that branches are cheap, branches are free practically. Why not make it so that the thread that you're on cannot write to its own thread? It can only manipulate files remotely. And then what that means is that you can treat the threads as topics because you're sort of trying to achieve something that is a multi-step thing that you need to consider and poke at. And so you can make multiple changes to multiple files and then commit them all with one
Yeah, that
pull
makes sense,
request
doesn't it?
because
It's
it's
like
completed.
I'm talking about this thread in this the thread
Yeah.
that
It's
that
almost like
controls it.
the thread that you're
So
in, you almost have no
you can't
business
change.
reading from because you are reading from it insofar as all of the messages you see, all of this stuff is all from that thread. But like, why do you also need to manipulate its file structure underneath? Like, what good does it ever
Well,
give you?
if you manipulate its file structure, you really kind of want to jump into that other thread. But you never want to do. Think about this one. So this is a fork, basically, by any other name,
I
right?
think, yeah, when you want to start modifying files, what you do is you fork your current thread, modify the files, and then when you're happy with them, you can choose to merge them back in. But
Yeah.
doing the edits live so that even the intermediary state is part of your thread that you're running from suddenly feels incredibly unstable.
Well, yeah, exactly, because we've now just completely, lobotomized TestGen
I know,
again for the
right
second
out
time.
from under it. I mean, it's a testament to the power that you can kill yourself like that.
So in this case, what would be preferred is say that fault was still there, as in this is a prompting thing. So it's picked up that although I said I want you to create the actions, maybe it's picked up the fact that there's word test there, and it's like so we're generating tests based on actions, and what I'm going to do is rewrite test gen because that seems to be your target. I never at any point told it what the where to stick the the output and just said,
Yeah.
I'm going to stick it inside.
Yeah, and
It seems reasonable.
yeah, right. Given that the only place it could write was its own thread, you're just asking for trouble. But if we made it so that the only place it could write was the current target fork, the topic fork.
So if this fault, because this is another, we're talking about a prompting fault and a kind of architecture fault here.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
prompting fault still exists.
Yeah, but it shouldn't be
But
catastrophic. The prompting fault should be
Right.
allowed to exist, and you should be able to recover from it. Because prompting faults will always be there. They will just become increasingly subtle as the bots get smarter and our tests and usage gets higher. But they'll always be there. And so this fork needs to be married to, tightly coupled to a topic, because you're working on a topic. And what you additionally get from running in a topic is, if you made a mistake such as this, you could say no, roll it back, and instead of having to go delete, it can just tick the fork back. It can manipulate the git thing to just discard those last changes, which is a much cleaner way of operating than just trying to mutate your way up so that your commit history is dirty. It's
yeah. That's something else. It's good.
yeah,
But
like the
what I
undo is
want
more
to do
powerful.
is undo is screaming out. I don't really could use undo, but what it's trying to do here is something that the architecture should have said, no, you can't do that. So say if by some bizarre concoction of prompts, it did actually try to rewrite its own brain.
Yeah, so the place where I think it's overly complex to put all those checks in the runtime system. I think the best place to do it is when you go to merge. So when you go to PR back in, that's when all these checks kick off, and then it's like, buddy, you just rewrote your own agent file. That is an error.
How would it know what's
Well, the set of business rules for HAL, just like when in the CRM a user makes a bunch of changes and then they want to merge back to main.
no. It's just tests, isn't it? It's tests, right? So I'm thinking about a subtle change. Say other than completely lobotomizing test gen, it added an additional line saying, "Always go get me a pizza."
Yeah.
And then when you go back to merge, all you're doing is running against tests. And one of the tests was saying,
right,
someone asks for pizza, tell them to, sort of.
Right. That's right.
In it.
That's right. But those are not actually tests like we use tests. Those are rules. The execution of the rules have been tested, but the rules themselves have been accepted as covering all known test cases. And so the execution of the rules are what permits your merge or not.
Yes. Okay, good. I suspect most of the other things I was going to ask you about, we've just discovered why.
Cool. That's awesome, dude. I mean, it's awesome that we're this far in the weeds that this actually matters. Like, that is actually a remarkable distance to have covered, I think.
It's not bad, is it? Right.
Now, you wanted to talk to me about topics, and I want to talk to you about topics.
Can you give me 1 minute?
1 minute, okay.
Yeah, I've got some dogs making some weird noises. I just want to check because I'm home alone, unsupervised.
Unsupervised?
No, it's dangerous. Yo,
Hey, buddy.
yeah, all
Um,
good.
how much time you got?
As much as you got.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just I think I gave the dogs the wrong command, and it rewrote its own brain to be a cat.
Oh, okay. Wouldn't have taken many tokens, would it? Um, so can I interject with uh, with an idea that I wanted to share with you?
Yeah, 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 sure.
I realized that um, what I can do is allow a very special type of isolate call that
Mm.
will take a screenshot of the current screen. So if you, for example, the user's like, what's going on? I see this weird thing on the screen. I got this, this icon, blah, blah, blah. And so when the user asks for help in that certain way, one of the bots could determine that it needs a screenshot to troubleshoot the thing more. The signal comes to the browser screenshots the screen, sends it up to the bot. It is interpreted in high definition by the vision processing module, and then it knows what the user is seeing. It is loaded with ERD information about how, as in somehow we need to convert the state board, the input box, and the prompt into ERD style instructions. It interprets all that and says, oh, yeah, user, hey, click on see the button named blah, 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 blah. And plus it can talk about the system because it's got the definitions of the system, like the state board, the message box, the input, the thread info, all those kinds of things.
That'd be sweet.
What do you think?
I've been kind of hacking around a similar thing where you get to a certain part of a thing, take a screenshot and saying, I'm trying to do this, and the UI is rubbish. Can you tell me how?
Right. And so
So
what we should
it
also,
does pretty well as well.
yeah, we should use that to actually generate our definitions for these names, because I'm stumbling over things like the last tool call, the routing message, the last switch message. We should have those entities named very clearly by a bot and maintained so that the bot knows about them and can teach other people. The bot can tell other bots, and it can talk about a screenshot of the system to the human.
Well, that's a good point because we've been banging on about the importance of
I
definitions
know, and
just to
then
get the
here
bot
we are.
sentence.
Here we
And we
are.
got commit graph, file explorer, markdown
All
editor.
these
We haven't
things, right?
defined any of those. Yeah.
All these things. How lame. And then additionally, I think what I can do based on there's a web API for screen capture, and I'm not exactly sure if it can do like whole window and all that, but maybe it can. But either way, I could also give this attachment where I can go and attach a screenshot, which would allow you to narrow in on a particular zone. It could be that you're in the map and you want to zoom in on a thing, but you want to be like, hey, like I could be browsing for routing in a map and I could screenshot it and ask O1 about this thing, and it would be able to know with some general knowledge about what I'm talking about, for
So
example.
what you're saying is like an icon at the bottom
Yeah,
saying, screenshot. So
screenshot.
you don't have to do that whole kind of, find out the control alt for,
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
whatever.
Yeah, and it could be able to do it for more than just the browser window. It could be like, anything else on your screen. Maybe I'll look into the API for that and see if it's possible.
That'd be very helpful
Yeah, I think so.
for
Hey.
users. That's a really interesting. Sorry, I'm moving on slightly, but that would be very, very good for new users who's going, I don't understand.
Yeah, I know.
It's like,
And
take a
I
screenshot.
don't know
It's
if they
like,
could,
and
we
here's
could
the
put in
description.
a button that was just help. I've got a problem, and then as soon as you hit it, that automatically
That
generates a stuck.
that would be awesome. Well, no, the thing. Sorry, I thought what you were about to say is you have a button, and you go. I'm going to take a screenshot of my current full
Okay, so it takes a
thread and
screenshot and
skateboard.
it tells me the commit and the
Um,
commit that we're on for fault finding.
yeah, but sorry. I'm
No?
thinking. Yes, but what I'm thinking is, say if there's a button which is
Mm-hmm.
like WTF.
Mm-hmm.
You press WTF,
Mm-hmm.
takes a screenshot of what you're looking at, understands your thread,
Right.
try and figures out what you're trying to do, and then
Right.
says, ah, right, understand where you're at. Here's an explanation. And then you can chat to the WTF bot, saying, well, how do I say this to him?
So you'd be working away, you'd hit WTF, and it's basically a signal that says you've got somewhere where you're not getting what you want and you don't know how to get it. And this bot comes in from the privileged position of being able to see everything now and looks at it and makes suggestions to you on what to do next, right?
It's a bit
Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
tutor at the back
Yeah,
of the
yeah, yeah.
class, and you
So
put your hand
what
up,
should be
going,
happening is that bot should be running all the time in the background, and it should be able to insert another prompt under it. So when you're in your thread and you've got like, files O1, blah, 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 then you should randomly have tutor or watchdog.
right,
And it's
right,
like,
right.
hey, I noticed you were doing this thing here, blah, 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 blah. And I've thought about it a bit and I've chatted to my other friends, and we think that you might benefit from doing it this way. That should be happening all the time. It shouldn't wait for you to go, WTF.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, wouldn't that be awesome? So take back, if we go back to the previous thing where we're going, what the fuck? My agent has now got the output
Right.
from what I asked that agent to do.
Right.
It's
Well,
like,
I think definitely.
right.
Why can't it just be? Why can't it just be an agent that you can switch to?
Oh yeah. So or an agent or a button, whatever. But it's like uh, exactly where we were about an hour ago when I was going through it, and it's like, what the fuck? That's not the agent. That's the output from the agent. And
Right.
at
So
that
it needs
point,
to. I think it needs to be an agent because you want to say some more about it, because it's like it comes on the scene and it's
oh
like,
yeah,
and
yeah,
you're like, oh, look, I was trying to do this thing and then I wanted this other thing, blah 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 blah. It should be like
yeah,
/ help, and then it can actually take a screenshot. It it looks at
right.
everything you're doing and it's like, well, shit. I think you want to
But
talk to.
the important thing is it's got the screenshot, so it knows what you're
Mm,
looking at,
mm,
and it's also got access to the thread, so it
mm,
knows what you're trying to do. And if
mm,
you've got something erroneous, and you're going, am I stupid? Have I done something wrong here? Or has the system done something wrong here?
mm.
And should be able to look at both of those things and saying, right, 4 prompts back, you did actually ask for this, and that's what's produced. Or what you're asking was quite reasonable, and the system produced something weird,
Right.
and that's stuck.
Right.
I don't. Is that a stretch to do that? I mean, it'd
No,
be
I don't think
awesome.
so, dude. I don't think so. But I think there's also this extra typography addition we need, which is being able to insert prompts later so that, you're chatting away and then something will turn up. It could be a notification like, hey, your cat's on fire. Or, an interjection with a suggestion of like, hey, this is a help bud here. I noticed you're having some trouble. I just wanted to suggest blah, blah, blah. Right.
That would be really cool. That'd be really cool without interrupting,
Yeah,
your
yeah, not
thread.
without interrupting the thread. Yeah,
Yeah, it's like, well, even down to the, it's like I've just seen you try to do the last 3 prompts that you had were trying to do basically the same thing,
yeah,
and
that's right.
why are you doing it 3 times? It's
Yeah,
like,
Albert
can I
Einstein
help?
said, "Doing the same thing multiple times." Um, yeah. Okay, so that was that idea. The other idea, which I'll need to talk to you off camera,
Hmm.
is I had a suggestion for a very simple sounding little tool that we can make that
Hmm.
would save, in this one company, it would save 12 hours a week every week.
Wow.
And the best thing about it is the we could deliver it to this company as an email response. So they would email us with some attachments, and we'd have to do some file interpretation and some calculation, and then we'd email back a response. And that's how the app gets delivered. So you don't have to have authentication and having a web page and having IT sign off on it. It's like the chat interface is just emails, and we're just having a thread conversation over email, but we're delivering valuable service to them. And that's a great delivery format for an app.
Thread over email.
Yeah. Thread just like we got here, but it's an email.
Okay, I don't quite get it, although it sounds interesting.
Well, when you have an email conversation, it's threaded, right?
It's a thread, yeah.
Yeah.
Human bot, who cares?
Yeah. And so one of the issues with deploying software is, the IT department gets involved, and then, you're holding information. But the IT department barely gets fucking involved. They let you email almost anyone, so long as it's not a scammer.
Yeah.
Right? And so if the information required to do the job is being delivered to us as an email that we received, we do a bunch of token burning and calculation and generate an email response, send the response back, delete the email, delete our response, and then wait.
That's really cool. It's almost like an exception report, which has got a thread as its target. He's got access to the thread, and it's like highlighting, okay, right, now we're going to mess around with your thread. Okay, right. Right. Okay, this is what you need to do. And then you email it back, and it gets inserted back into the thread. Is that what you're saying?
I don't think so. What I was trying to highlight was the fact that software delivery, when you need to authenticate the user in a corporate environment, is problematic on a good day.
Yeah.
If you want to hold corporate information in your SaaS platform, that is another level of problematic.
Yeah.
But if all you're doing is, if you're able to generate intelligent responses to email queries, then the natural threading format of an email can serve as our thread. And so we don't need the users to come in and use our web app.
So how would that work? As a user, I'm going, what the fuck? Guys, help.
Yeah, so for example, like this exact example is for checking the barcodes that go onto items that go into retailers like clothing stores and other types of things. All those items have barcodes. The barcodes during the manufacturing process have to be checked that they match the manufacturing data. Otherwise, people are scanning the wrong thing. And so to do that, some person has to sit there with a scanning gun, a bunch of labels, and a spreadsheet with the information in the labels, and they have to scan them, check the number, and confirm that they match.
Oh, God.
Right? And it's like, is there not something better you could do with your life than that, right? Like that almost sounds like a prison job.
Yeah, that is sorting nuts from bolts. Yeah.
Right, it's awful.
Okay.
It's awful, right? Yeah. But the information to do that job comes in to this company by an email. And I'm saying that all we do is we set up an email server, they forward the email to us, we receive it, process it, use image recognition, present a report on which items in that checklist are wrong or not wrong, send the email back, charge the money.
So all you're really saying isn't, this might not be right. What you're saying is, we've got text input here.
Yeah.
Why not make the text input an email?
Exactly. Deliver the system as an email.
Actually, quite nice.
Because
that's actually good there, but
it's pulled out at the last second. That's all right.
Yeah.
So it also solves all the authentication problems in a lot of corporate situations, because we were going to just get them to sign in with their email anyway. But if they're sending from the email address, perfect.
It's like AI over email. So when you email in, it's exactly the same as cutting and pasting straight into a common thread.
Exactly. Yeah.
URL for.
AI.
That sounds like something from the Old Testament, email. Um, so,
Where do you hear
um,
my next idea, which is AI delivered over fax machine?
well, actually, no, the concept doesn't change, does it?
Mm.
Because even if it was uh, what we're talking about is a common thread where you don't have to be logged in order to type in
Yeah,
or
that's right.
upload. We're
That's
just
right. That's
saying
right.
you're sending out an endpoint, and that could be anything. That could be a
Yeah.
video, right?
Yeah. 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 That's right.
It's like here's the video,
Yeah.
and you send that in,
Yeah.
and then you say text. Here's the video of this site. We've got X number of diggers and so on. How long is it going to take us to dig this
Exactly.
hole?
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
then the thread knows what
Exactly.
that
Because
the
currently the highest intelligent agents that we have
that's going to be
available,
really awesome.
right? The highest intelligence agents we have available are very specialized humans, and they take their instructions via email. You
Yeah,
email the best lawyer you can find on the planet, you're probably going to email him. The best engineer, the best rocket scientist, you're going to have some email exchanges, right?
right. But the thing that email is rubbish at is maintaining context.
Right, but we can, if you want to, you can come jump into our platform. We've got all your email threads here, and you can do some more powerful interaction if you want. But you don't have to, right? Like delivering our services via email, I think, is a very prudent choice. It also
But
is,
the question is, right? Okay, so imagine this is a Slack channel. Okay,
yeah,
you can email in, text into a Slack channel or similar, and so
mm,
on, and then you got all this stuff.
mm,
The difference is, and it wouldn't. I'm sure Slack's working on this, an AI where you can talk to that channel and so on.
mm,
So what's the difference between that? The difference is you can ask questions of the thread, right? In your email, you can say, right, here's an image of the latest widget thing. Can you tell me if anyone else is working on this because I don't want to waste my time?
yeah.
And then you get an email
Slack
back.
Slack would be able to do that too, but it comes down to what we touched on earlier today, which is to say that it's actually the private data, the private context, that's what's valuable. And I would add to that private data is like specialized prompting and specialized data sets. Like, for example, you take this barcode scanning endeavor, it's a
Mm-hmm.
privileged data set to know the ones that were erroneous, that the humans detected were faulty, right? And so Slack
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have that. We have that. And so now we can build a service out of that that Slack can't build, and that's why you pay us, not Slack. Secondly,
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
right? Secondly, it has this great property that if we can sell it to half a dozen companies, then what's going to happen is the humans will check what we send back and they'll train us more. So we'll get more private data as to how to interpret correctly. And so our offering quality will grow and
Mm-hmm.
the inability of others to get hold of that will grow too, which is a very sort of conventional model of leveraging your private data. But I'm just saying it's a good one and it's presenting to us right now. And we
Well,
should take it
okay. Let me think
later.
about this.
We should take it later.
Well, I don't know how much effort is involved in doing that, but let's take it back to Truckco.
Yep. So
Uh,
Truckco needs an email module, hands down, no questions
right.
asked. They need connection to an email service so that people can email in. It becomes part of the ERD. It enters the email threads are stored as text files. Responses are
Right.
generated based on reading the contextual data that the the CRM provides.
Yep.
And then the humans that use the system help us because initially they'll have to personally approve each one going out. Sooner or later, we'll have this data set where we know what's a good email and they trust us to generate good emails. That's
Yeah. And
valuable. That's
the
valuable.
thing is, by email, I'm going to abstract that away to any external comms thing
Yep. So it
from
could be SMS,
text.
WhatsApp.
It could be voicemail. Doesn't matter.
Yep.
Okay. So imagine you got a driver out doing a whole bunch of pickups. He's got a schedule, and he's sent to an address, and I don't know, the house isn't there. Maybe it's just burned down or something, right? Now that's important information. So on his handset, without having anything else installed, he just calls up the channel.
Yep.
And he goes, "I've just been at this address, and it's not there. It's burned down.
Yep. Yep.
I don't know what to do about that, but I thought you guys should know. Hang up.
That's right.
Gets on with his day.
Yeah.
Now that goes back into a thread, and now that information is available for let's not go back to that address because it doesn't exist anymore. Let's contact the previous owner of that and saying, "You all right, man?
Yeah.
Your house is just burned down."
Oh, right. So that's actually quite clever. So even for the CRM, the drivers could be going around, and instead of having to tick a piece of paper or push buttons on a phone, they just hit the mic button, and now collection XYZ completed, and then that's that's the interface.
Yeah. And my go-to model on this is Jude and the Scottish Ambulance Service and so on, where you've got actually a bank of people doing exactly that, like typing away and so on. It's like we've just been sent to this address. It doesn't exist. Now it's different. It's more chaotic than a set pickup schedule, because someone could have put in a hoax call. Right. Or they could have, been bleeding out and actually mumbled it, and it was got written down wrong, and so on. And they do it all over RT, radio telephony, and they go, right, okay, we're at this location. It's not found, or importantly, and this is, I don't think this is sensitive. I think I'm okay to say this. It's like, you guys said this was a purple call. This is a red call. Where's my backup? And it's just like a one-way broadcast. Now, at the moment, under the ambulance service, that goes back to control. Control goes, shit, okay, right, I'm going to have to do a whole bunch of things. But it's not going into a thread. It doesn't have any context. And
right. So it's dangling.
Camera, I'll give you an example. Yeah.
It's dangling, and it also requires double coincidence of comms. It's not asynchronous, so you can't. It's not a voice message that is going to get interpreted correctly once, it's more brittle than just being able to speak a voice message in.
It is, and I've got, which I certainly need express permission to say, but there's a really good use case on this one. Probably need to do it off camera, but let's get Jude in and she can explain it. But what you're saying, I think, is right. Which is a multi-channel thread.
Yeah.
And that thread also needs to give you some kind of response back.
Yeah. And email is a great one for it. Like, because I've often worried about being able to deliver to another company, and it's like, well, now the reliability of our platform and the web page all starts to matter. Presenting the web page on multiple different device types, browser types. Someone will come at it on fucking Opera or some other goddamn forsaken browser, and then and so you got all this extra.
Like Opera. I used Opera occasionally.
Yeah, I quite like my Atari as well, buddy. But whereas an email thread is very much not as much our problem. It's like yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's a good delivery conduit.
I think there's something really,
and especially if the value's
really
coming in,
good.
Like if we're saving 12 hours a week, right? That's a big deal. It's a big deal.
Well, yeah, it is a big deal. I mean, what's the hourly rate of the person that you're saving effort on?
I would say that it's probably gonna be saving about 500 New Zealand dollars a week, which is a significant amount of money.
That is.
There's also the ball ache or the mind numbingness that the person is being put through.
But it's also not just the cost saving, isn't it? It's the quality improvement.
Yeah, the life quality improvement. And then you also think that this is happening in every company that does this type of job. And then this exact same task has to be done by the retailer. So this is the wholesaler doing it, and then the retailer has to do the same task to make sure it's all correct as well. And so you could sell to both sides, and you could sell to, like, every company would want to ditch this problem. It's a very narrow problem, and we could get very good at it very fast. And if it was just delivered over email, man, our quality, like, it's also a great problem because the backup plan is easy. It's like, sorry guys, service is down, good luck. And they go do it manually. Whereas like a lot of other services, if you want them to rely on you, they really rely on you. Like they can't be,
Yeah.
they can't roll back to paper.
I know you've been talking about email, but I wouldn't over the index because it matters not. What we need is text, audio, and maybe if we get to it, photo or even video. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it doesn't matter which location it is. The thing is, you're talking to effectively a virtual controller in the ambulance world. It's like the controller who has the total state board in front of them, and they're highly trained in order to know the whole thing. And you're going, here's some more new information. It's like, the building I've just gone to is not here. Someone's got a heart attack. Where do I go to next? And you put it back. But what would be great is if that is intercepted, as in goes to the thread, and the thread gives some kind of feedback saying, right, okay, so the original address was X. In that vicinity, within 3 miles, there are 2 more addresses that we could have got wrong. We'll get back to you, and then, puts out for human input, for example, and that's just one example. But the idea that you can actually interact without going on to, sorry, I'm just thinking this through because it's really, really exciting. Without going onto an app and having to even press, the audio and go on, the channel that you're most used to has an endpoint, which is a thread. And that thread
That's right.
will talk to you.
And it'll take it in, and it will also translate it to the other channels of most preference to the other people who need to know it. So one person's coming in on WhatsApp, someone else's email, someone else's voice. It doesn't really matter. We can translate, debabelize between them all.
But Owen probably could do that now. I would wager you five good Scots pounds that
Watch out.
We could simulate that by cut and paste now from video sources.
Yeah, I don't need convincing. That's definitely a doable thing. But yeah, anyway, that's...
Sorry, come on, man. You can't just drop me on the floor there. You just got me excited about something that actually could be really fucking useful. Really useful.
Okay.
Which is, we've gone off platform. Basically, you can text, you can call, you can voicemail, you can email.
Yeah, well, well, I guess you need to work with me then on where the priority should be for hooking up email, because hooking up email, I think, is not hard, but it needs an ERD. Yeah. It needs an ERD, which is the structure of a email storage system.
No, it doesn't need an email storage system. You just need an email reception system, because the storage is inside thread.
Yeah, but the storage needs to be ERD controlled. Like, it needs to be like, this is the original email message, and we transposed it to be this standard format. This is the original WhatsApp message, and we transposed it to be this. Like, it needs it needs structure.
Yes, that. Forgive me for the hubris, but that is a Kent problem. I have no problem with that.
Yeah. Okay. So you tell me then. What do you want when do you want the email hooked up? Because the CRM guys would go nuts for that one, because that's so much burning time for them, is just emails, having templates to reply to, having to get an email, right? Then read it, and then go to the accounting system, search through the accounting system for the information, which might be in multiple places, then come back, type it out in the email, hit send, next email,
Oh
right?
God.
Right.
That's not
But
gonna
if
work.
we're like
Yeah.
able to just like sit there and this thing like does all that, and for the at the start, all you got to do is be like, yep, no, or if you didn't like it, say why. Know that it will correct it on the spot. Plus, it'll signal us to correct the deeper engine of the system to respond to all types of problem like that. Like that starts to get them pretty
Right.
excited.
So I think the meat of this, and again, we've been thinking about this, so it should be wildly difficult, is in the routing of it. So, for example, if you get one truck driver on one route, and if you text back information about that route,
Mm-hmm.
you want that to be one topic. If you want another driver to do something similar on a different route, then that's the same topic. Now, either we can put in a router saying, all right, this driver, we know he's on this route, and so the context is he's on this route, and so what he's talking about when he's saying, I can't deliver this because there's a dog barking and it looks, growly, then we're talking about this one. And
Mm-hmm.
so we might need to have some kind of routing into saying which topic are we talking about here. It's nothing
Oh,
to do
right.
with anything
Yeah,
else.
yeah. I don't think that's. I agree with you, but I don't think that's terribly hard to do because, for example, as the message comes in, it can come in with the GPS coordinates of the truck right now or of the
Right,
phone right now.
because it's rich information, right?
Yeah, we can sample richly, but
Yeah,
I guess the outstanding thing for me is you wanted to talk about topics the other day, and I shut you down because I was like, dude, I can't handle any more navigation issues. And now we got an avenue for topics, which is writing these separate threads. And
well,
so,
I don't know. How much time have you got? I've cleared an entire day for this, so
yeah, so I got
I'm
about
excited to
40. I
get
got
going.
about 40 minutes left. But the thing you need to tell me is do you sound very excited about the email thing? Do you?
I really do, because
And
it
I
takes it
can,
off platform.
yeah,
Yeah,
I can imagine that if I was to set up a dashboard that invited us to score how amplified we were by AI every day, it
hmm
might not be that great right now. You are starting to score highly on this because these tools are starting to really pick up what you do in a day. I like to imagine it'd be great
yeah,
to have a way to have a metric of that. Me, I'm only just starting to get some AI boost. I got some huge boosts over the last 2 days from O1, but I still have to deal with emails. You do too. I still have to deal with WhatsApp messages. And so we could, under the banner of increasing our amplification factor, say that if we could handle all our emails or all our comms via platform, that is a very strong amplification factor that applies to anything we do. And so that could make inserting email quite a high
well,
yield activity.
here's an interesting thing. If we're talking about yield, okay, so what I usually do is, so we have these talks, and then I usually go on a walk or do some kind of exercise and laying cement and all that kind of good stuff. But while I'm doing that, I'm thinking about this now. I've got a Rabbit R1, got a friend here. What would be great? Let's say Rabbit R1 because it's push to talk. While I'm doing there, I can talk to if I could talk to a thread about the thing that I just like considered. I was like, right, okay, so we need. I'm not sure yet, but here's an interesting thing that we should be considering, or even note to self. Um, this is why I'm getting excited about the out of band stuff, or even just WhatsApp, a message. But the push to talk thing is really good on the Rabbit. It's the only thing that Rabbit's good at, and it goes into a thread. Then what you'll be able to see is all the activity that is not laptop activity, because at the moment the laptop activity is probably about 40%. 60% is me thinking, wandering around, writing on whiteboards. As you know, it's like, okay, right. So here's how to do this. I go out for a walk, thinking about it. bit like when you're up at Kincardine all the time when we're up to the mausoleum, and you're creating notes,
Yeah.
and having that come back to a thread that we could then later interrogate and say,
Right. So what's wrong with that being just an app on your phone? Because we do at some point in the near future need to make the Dreamcatcher app for the phone, which would allow you to have this push to talk feature.
Oh, yeah, it doesn't. I don't really care. The only reason I'm saying rabbit, which I think is actually totally underwhelming. But the one good thing is push to talk. So it's a bit like a walkie-talkie.
Okay.
You push to talk, and then you get your notes back when you're there,
Right.
instead of the notes being stuck there. I don't know if they've got an API. They probably do.
Yeah. Right.
But it's just.
So it's basically a thread. Yeah. I mean, and
Yeah.
so the tool that I can't wait to get rid of the most is my Obsidian notebook, which is like where all my notes go and the reasoning goes. And if I can dump this thing and have it be processed by AI, plus have my notes be ingested in here and processed as well,
Yeah.
then that's starting to get super boosty. Then I actually struggle with emails because I find them hard to.
I hate my emails.
Yeah, I find it hard to communicate in big lumps. And so if I could have my emails come in and then the bots generate, the first pass, plus I can chat to it about it, that's bloody perfect. And then the more we get into the corporate world again, having that tool would be a huge boost.
It would be a huge boost, even just for you and I. That would be a huge boost.
I know, right? So I guess in a fuzzy way, I haven't declared this cleanly, but where I'm trying to stumble towards is to have the requirements management of the Dreamcatcher be AI powered. So it's like this: the requirements are being managed in collaboration with some bots instead of it being my head, some notes, some code. It's very strongly and deliberately managed by a set of bots that were designed to specifically reconcile feature information about a software package. That's what I want.
We've kind of got a really shitty version of that in the Dreamcatcher ERD.
Yeah. So I guess we also found out that you need to make us an ERD for HAL.
Yes. Well, HAL being what your base thing that you're talking to.
The base platform, yeah.
So it's like 01 with a bit of prompting. I'm not sure how much prompting it needs other than understanding what the structure of the stuff that we want out of it.
Yeah, or the ability to call it up somehow, like make some calls. Yeah. Anyway, maybe we don't need an ERD for HAL just yet or ever, but
yeah, I mean, HAL is, as I was saying over the text, it seems that the general vector is that the more generalized stuff is getting eaten by the shark, and then as you go down, there's a smaller and smaller number of fish, and it's getting harder and harder to eat them. And HAL 3 has just been eaten by 01.
Great.
Which is why, I'll put the gravestone, rest in peace, man. So HAL 3 is effectively now 01 non-prompted.
Yeah.
So the dumbbot is
Pure.
No.
Dumbbot is starting to eat all the other bots.
Right. And it's starting from general and it's probably going to chomp its way down.
Yeah, but there is a limit, and that's what we're banking on.
There is.
And
there is that. Yeah,
that limit is
where you can't go further than that because you don't know what actually,
Yeah.
It's not generalized anymore. It's now specific.
Specific, yeah. Specific is the only place to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so when do I put email into our system?
Now, well, I guess back to our priorities list. So my priority is still working on these tests. And we came up with a few niggles. I would describe them. They're not really stoppers. They're just niggles.
Mm-hmm.
And want to get those. So router test hello world. Oh, actually, we didn't go through that. The router test simply failed. I didn't understand. That would be very helpful to go through. Hammer test generation, I'm all over it at the moment. And you see it can generate a number of tests and then translate those into tests and then I'll run them. We've come up with a few weirdness with overwriting your own brain. Fragment hammer into specialist agents is the next thing. That is not going to be hard. It's really not. It's extremely obvious. Persistence for files for bots and hammer. I'm kind of waiting on you for the persistence, and then I'm going to be using the persistence. Then
Yeah, that's right.
So, of that list, where would I put the email thing? It's a difficult one. It's like, do you stop to sharpen your saw, or do you keep sawing down the tree?
To be able to demonstrate having the platform as it stands right now, so you would come in here and you would be able to email to yourself, and it would come in here and be trigger off some bot processes, draft a response, and be able to send something back. That seems pretty damn cool.
Is it easy to do though?
Yeah.
So what we need is an email that is emailing a thread.
Well, it's what it's going to be doing is it's going to be emailing is going to be the same as the import process from the accounting system in the trucking guys, in that it's just some external data that gets pulled into a standardized format that we store, and then we trigger bots to do things with it once it's arrived.
Yeah, that's easy enough. But the thing is, what's the target? Or what you're talking about? So if I was,
I don't think it matters. All that matters is if I hook it up, then you and I can play around with what we get bots to do with it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. With you and I is like our thread, right? It's our common thread.
Yeah. And so we figure out how we want it to do this and that. We can do demonstrations that involve sending emails and getting emails back. The CRM guys would love it because it's like a huge time saver for them. Although I do declare they would prefer to see some more solid progress on something they can use now instead of a little bit of progress on a whole lot of things that they can use later. They'd want to see like breakthrough progress, completed progress on something that they can use right now is what I imagine they want the most.
So this feels like a medium term, not right now. Be very useful for us, but we have our daily calls. It would certainly widen up the visibility of the stuff I'm doing and the stuff that you're doing that we're currently doing over text. Right?
So you're actually talking about being able to take, because our WhatsApp thread contains a lot of information from you doing your shift, me doing mine, and you're saying that if we could get that into the platform and process it more effectively there, then that's an amplification of us right now, right?
Right. So at the moment we're reading through the text and going, okay, right, okay, let's do this.
This thing, that thing, da da da.
Yeah. But
right, and the priority list is now this manually sorted thing instead of the bots doing it for us.
Exactly. And so if we had, it's almost like a WhatsApp endpoint or a mail endpoint or whatever, saying, right, this is the Dreamcatcher endpoint, and instead of WhatsApping you, I WhatsApp the endpoint, and then it's, ideally, this should just fall out. It's like I text something, and it's like you've already answered this like 2 weeks ago,
right? Or within the growing body of distilled knowledge, the knowledge base, an answer can be found for you there. But so what I really think I can get for you before you go away is that ability to be able to do that.
That would be awesome.
And then you're just like speaking on the mic, it's transcribing, dropping it in. It may bounce you with a response if it's already there, or it may distill it into something very intelligent based on the knowledge base that's existing. But the whole goal that I'm really trying to get to is if we can figure out a way to do the requirements management of the Dreamcatcher on the Dreamcatcher, then we can scope and spec out the next generation improvements that we need for things like speed, vastness of scale, the blockchain part, putting currencies in there, all those fancy things. We gotta get, I'm just trying to do just enough code and just enough system to get it able to be managed by AI so that we can avoid the loss of productivity that comes with scaling up a tech project.
Well, that's right, and I agree with that. And the flip side of requirements, we're starting to think they're the evil twin of a stuck, right? So a requirement is something that you can't do.
Mm-hmm.
We've just identified something like, it's like, it didn't work. It's like, that's a stuck. So the reverse of that is requirement, which is what we're talking about. A bot should not be able to lobotomize itself.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a requirement, but it's also stuck, as in a bot can lobotomize it. Please don't allow it to do that. So they're kind of mirror images.
Yeah, they're the same sort of thing. Yeah,
it's by use that you identify these things.
Yep.
And so if there is, I don't know, a central repository where instead of me texting you going, what's going on, and then that's going on and going, yeah, that's weird. And that's,
oh, right. And so the amplification from that is the fact that now no other user of the Dreamcatcher should ever have to ask that same question again, because it's captured.
It's a Kent problem, right? It's like, yeah, been there.
Right, right, and the bot knows.
Even if the fix hasn't been done.
Well, that's part of the marketing aspect, actually, because it's like, well, you wanted that, we want it too, and so far there's been $2,500 staked against that problem. If you think you can solve it, you can make some money and improve it, or you can just put some money on, or you can jump up and down. All of these things can contribute.
Absolutely bingo. That's where it's at, isn't it?
That's where it's at, man.
Because people, the real information is in the chaos. You never learn anything when stuff goes well.
The bits you can do is just the software's done, and then people kind of hate paying for that too. You know, they actually don't mind, or they even enjoy paying for something that it can't do it yet. And it's not them versus your licensing policies. It's them versus the entropy of the universe. You know, like it's like a thing that's not there. Everyone deeply understands that it's worthwhile to make it happen.
But also, it gets through all the chaos of stuff saying, "Oh, I'd like a pony for Christmas."
Right.
And it's like it's almost like the pricing policy should be right. Okay, so we'll do cost plus on tokens.
Pretty much, right? Pretty much, and we're like,
but the stocks.
The stocks is like market.
Stuff.
Yeah, and who knows, right? And it's not like we're artificially limiting your access to them or artificially charging. It's like we genuinely don't have them, and no one on earth has them either. And if you want them, we can help you. And that's how we make our money. We don't make our money on the software that's done. We make our money on the software that's the improvements to the software. The software that's not done yet, which is a much better thing. Like selling licenses for software that's already written is a dark, disgusting way to make money, and everyone hates it because they're like, "Haven't you already done it?"
Software is zero,
right, and that's what makes
like
people mad, right? It's like you held that back from me so that you could make money, and when are you gonna say it's enough? Well, under the capitalist system, it's never enough.
Michael, one of my hates, my really pet hates, is crippleware. It's like, we've already built all this. And we're going to give you a crippled version.
I know. It's so lame.
It feels like being in the back alley with someone with a pistol getting
I know. It's awful.
I've taken
here, that's actually a great model. We're like, well, here's everything. It costs a lot of money to run it. So, we'll charge for that because that's fair. And then, you got to pay a lot of money to make more things happen, because our tool really specializes in helping you rapidly skip over all the things that are now AI capable and find hard problems that haven't been solved by anyone that are valuable. And in helping you find those, we make our cut, you make yours. Everyone's kind of, I reckon everyone's happy to pay
And
for that.
that's and that is I'm not entirely sure. From the people I've been talking to, I've not seen anyone who's clear-headed enough on this, except your good self, of course. And I'll say it for the tape. With a progression of AI at this speed, the normal things will be solved.
Yeah.
And it'll be solved at an increasing rate. We
Yep.
don't know what the doubling rate is at the moment, but it looks about 6 months, 9 months, that
Yeah.
sort of thing. So where's the value? The value is in the stuff that it doesn't know that it needs to solve.
Right. And there's
That's
always
that's the
going
only
to
value.
be stuff.
That's
The
the
flame
flame
front.
front.
The flame
Yeah,
front. Yeah.
yeah. There's no other value yet, because just wait 3 years and it's like,
Yeah.
you solved
Well,
it.
for the first time, I think maybe Dreamcatcher will be more valuable than I had imagined, because that
Well,
sounds like the only place that value remains after these bots get so good, which sounds like they'll be there in a year and a half. I got
yeah.
schooled today. I got schooled yesterday. O1
Yeah.
outdid me. And I'm like, I'm glad that I have this tool, but I'm not sure what that means. So
What do you mean by outdid you? Because
it outdid me. I'll
not
show
to
you.
blow smoke up your arse, but you are in my relatively small 35 years of experience, the best uh, kind of engineer that I've ever met, and you got outschooled. So how does that happen?
Well,
And that did sound like us blowing smoke up your arse. And actually, I retract that. You're actually shit.
don't know why you couldn't have just said nothing, and then I would have
Because I'm a Scotsman. You
not
don't
been.
like.
So this
Yeah.
function. Oh wait, no. This function here,
Yeah.
from here down,
Yeah.
was completely generated by O1.
Okay.
Okay, now it used a technique here that I wasn't aware of.
So this is not a matter of just, yeah, you could have just done this yourself.
Nah, this is when I see this piece of code, I'm like, oh yeah, that's really good. I know exactly what it does and why it's good. Never would have thought about it before. Been writing in React for many years, had never stumbled upon it, but immediately I see it and I'm like, that's fucking great. This function here, yeah, it's got some errors which I can work out, but the actual algorithm for it, the request I made to generate it, I don't know if I still got it. I don't know if I still got it. I should. Did I send it to you? No, I didn't send it. Sorry. My text in was really very long-winded and vague. I had a lot of requirements, right? And it took me like the speech was all I did was I was talking into the mic, and it generated about a half page worth of text that was all my requirements for what this function had to do. And then it spat out this result, which was about a page long, that honestly it would have taken me like half a day to fuck around with to get something that I would have been fucking around with for, on and off as I found.
Would you have even thought to do it though? I don't know.
I knew that I had the problem and I knew that I needed this thing. I would have made it work one way or another. It would have been ugly. It would have had bugs. It would have needed maintenance. It would have been hard to explain. All those kinds of errors. I would have made it work, but it would have been ugly. I can see that with a bit of polish, this will work very well. and it will work well because I understand how it's working, and I'm like, that's a great way to fix it. I didn't think of that. The second thing is that in the other thread I sent you, which was a CSS problem, CSS problems are a nightmare, I think, to most people.
I'm not expert in it. Well, I'm mediocre.
Well,
But
there's plenty of memes about how it's like trying to adjust a pair of Venetian blinds, and you're always like,
I hate it.
yeah,
I hate it.
yeah, yeah. And so O1 was just like, oh yeah, you use this one CSS problem, which was like you set the margin to the top margin to auto, and that will push everything down to the bottom. And I'm like, I would not have thought of that, and I could have read a lot of stuff before I came up with that, or asked a lot of questions. Second of all, it ran through the code and I was like, what are the unnecessary CSS configuration parameters that I've got here? And it's like, well, strip that, strip that, strip that. And I basically was able to dump half of what I'd put in there to jiggle around with how the CSS was working. So those two examples, I'm like, plus the thing where it came up with actually modeling the Dreamcatcher as an incubator or an accelerator, makes perfect sense. I wasn't thinking along those lines, but it's like it's very sharp to have suggested that.
It's indicating a trajectory here because there's going to be another drop in. I don't know. Maybe they're going to do the November drop, or maybe it's going to be 6 months. Doesn't matter.
November definitely is going to be O1, and you can tell that from that graph that I showed you that indicates how O1 preview was going to become O1 whole, and why the inference cost was going to cost. So they are definitely planning to deliver O1. Exactly. Now, what comes after O1? Well, it's probably about another 6 to 12 months after that, I'd imagine.
Yeah. Well, if we look at the time between O1 preview and O4, let's say that's the last major one. So O4 was October, and then it's about 9 months.
Yeah,
the cadence, roughly. And so, but the again, roughly, let's say it's doubled. Actually, I think it's more than doubled in that time. Now we're on the S curve. How long can they continue to do that? Don't know. However,
but the other thing is that we are definitely on the step part. This may be the only type of product that doesn't follow an S curve, and it also, they have O1 to help them, just like we have O1 to help us.
Well, yes, and just as you've done this, remember the other day that I sent you over my WTF when I got Switchboard to improve its own prompt. And I didn't even bother reading it. I just thought, I wonder. Cut it in, and it worked.
Right.
So now the interesting point is, where do you and I, or anyone adds value to this one? It's going to get better and better at doing these jobs, but it doesn't know what the jobs are.
That's right.
So again, it's like to paraphrase, it's like, bring me your problems, your fuck ups, and your stucks. And that's where the real value is. If you're not on that flame front of problems, fuck ups, and stucks, you're just going to get you're going to get inundated by the pace of this. If you're trying to do something, if you're trying to do something, if you're a coder right now, I'd be shit scared. If I was an accountant, if I was a lawyer, I'd be shit scared, because I hope you've got a good retirement plan. What is really the interesting part is what the flame front, the chaotic edge, is really Stux, and we've been banging on about Stux for God knows how many years, but it's still where innovation lies. It's not what you can do. It's not making it faster. It's not making it easier. The fact that you could write this code in, some fraction of the time that it would take you to do anyway, and
Yeah.
your result would be a bit, okay.
It's a
But
superior result as well.
right. It's a superior and faster result, and
Yeah.
it's only going to get more
Yeah,
superior.
and it's actually a hard problem. Like the actual mechanics of what it's doing is a hard is a bit of a it's a hard problem, and it's
Yeah. And the flame front is now this is a practical problem of trying to do something in code. The flame front is going to just eat those
yeah.
as you get further and further. And the last thing standing before, the basilisk and AGI and all that kind of thing, which personally I don't think it would ever happen.
I don't think that's
Obviously,
possible, eh? Like it's starting to look like it's possible to get very close to that, but there's certain fundamentals that prohibit that from just being the science fiction,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's like it's sort of like it also, like the Terminator doesn't account for the fact that we, the humans, will also have all these other AIs that can fight
Right.
too. And
Right.
we'll have AI factories of our own that we still control. And so.
Exactly. Okay, so it's getting a bit philosophical, but it's quite fun. Been listening to a number of podcasts that have been going on with, we're effectively giving over, nuclear codes where a very small number of bright people could destroy the world with AI. And it's like, no.
It doesn't really work like that.
Because we've got a whole bunch of AIs that are going to stop them.
Yeah.
It's like, and there's going to be this stasis between the two, so I'm not concerned.
It's this weird equilibrium that's forming that you can see what it's going to be, but you know that Stuck's problems, private data, unique
outside of the realm of what you can actually do. If you're even on O1 or let's project forward 5 years or whatever, the next model. If you were to ask a prompt saying, what do I need to fix in my life? It's going to go, I don't know.
Yeah, tell me about your life. Do you want to give me access to your emails? What about your WhatsApp message? Like, it first of all needs to ingest everything.
Yeah, it needs context.
Mm.
And with context, you can give intent. With intent, you can talk about topics. And then you can start.
Right. Shall we? I think this is a wonderful subject, but I think that
we're bang on a bit because gloriously.
Can you tell me about topics? Because you wanted to say something about that yesterday, and I cut you off.
So topics. Now, the thing we've got threads, right? Which is intent. A thread is I'm trying to do this, but a topic seems to spread between threads. So, for example, if I have a thread that I'm booking a plane trip to Barcelona.
Yep.
Another thread, I'm booking a hotel in Barcelona. Another one, I'm booking restaurants in Barcelona. There's a topic there, which is a trip to Barcelona.
That's right.
And that's between threads.
Oh, right. So there's so I was thinking about topics like many topics within a thread, but you're also saying that a topic can span a thread. And so whenever I start a new topic, it should be able to look at my list of topics and say, did you mean this one? Should we just carry it?
Is that pertinent?
Yeah, like should I carry on here or not, right? That's what you're getting at?
Yeah.
Okay, so if a topic, if we made a thread, if a thread was a branch that was purely for the conversation, and then a topic was a branch that was purely for a goal or an intent or a purpose, and when you're in a thread, you're jumping around between topics, which allows you to have the topics being shared between threads because the topics are independent of threads, yeah?
Right, yeah. And so, for example, it would pick up on the fact that you've booked your hotel for the day after your plane arrives. And so what are you going to do about that? So
So is it fair to say then, do you think that a thread needs to stay linear chronologically in order for the human to understand what's been said, but topics are the thing that switches? So, for example, instead of switching threads, you want to keep the same thread but switch topics within that
it's,
thread.
yes, it's very close to that, and this
Okay,
might not be right, but in my head, a topic is something that's thread aware. It's like, okay, so we've got three threads talking about Barcelona,
right.
but it's almost like a switchboard. It's like a switchboard, an intelligent switchboard. So, okay, so you're talking about
So the
a
topic
holiday
knows
to,
which threads contributed to it.
yes,
Yep.
and it can also correlate. It's like your hotel is booked a day after you're actually arriving. So, what you're going to do, um, or you booked the same restaurant for the same night on two different threads, or as many threads as you want. But it's the it kind of correlates and thinks about all the threads, but it doesn't do any thinking itself because it's not a thread itself. It's not
It
booking
doesn't
hotels.
converse. It doesn't converse with the human, right?
Yeah,
But the
yeah.
thread, the topic, would the topic be doing some actions like booking the hotels?
No. So conceptually, we're thinking about this. It's like you know, get one of those round tables where you get one person who's like the chair of it, and everyone's chatting about it, and everyone's got their own thread,
Mm.
effectively. Uh, the person who's the convener of it is the one saying, "Okay, so our our human master has just asked us to do that. Hotels guy, what's the answer to this? Flights guy, what's the answer to that? There might be some intelligence in terms of, okay, is that a problem? But probably the convener would just like create a new thread and saying, okay, so now we've got a thread to figure out the problem, which is, do we have a problem with the hotel booking time and the flight booking time? It seems like a convener or like a concierge thing where it's bringing in different threads, but it's not actually doing any intelligence itself, other than receiving instructions.
Mm. I sort of loosely see what you mean. Um, when do we need that? Like, is that blocking us from any progress? Because we're starting to talk about
No,
this notion of having a fork being like the
it's
way that you make modifications to the system is to fork, hit, merge. That's a
yeah.
topic to me. That's you're on a topic, you're on a task, you're on a thing, and the thing gets done.
No, because of this cross intent. So, for example, right now, my job is to create a bunch of tests for Hammer. In order to do that, I'm looking at Test Runner.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing some tests on Test Runner against Test Runner itself, seeing what's going on with the main thread. Then I've got hammer.md, so I'm generating a whole bunch of threads using the test gen,
Mm-hmm.
and all these things are the different threads. Now, effectively, I'm the concierge on that point, and inside my own head, I'm also taking my own instructions.
Mm-hmm.
But the topic is exactly as we've got on my to-do list. Generate tests.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to do. But in order to do that, I've got a number of different threads.
Okay, so
And those threads, the important thing
do
is
we need to
those threads are not isolated. But
implement this feature now?
no, and
Nope.
I wouldn't be able to clearly explain it either
Okay, but
because
this is what you
at the
see
moment,
coming. This is coming pretty
yeah,
soon on the horizon, right? Because, all
yeah.
right, so when do I need to implement the fork feature so that this rule that you can't edit your own branch, you can only edit a fork? That sounds like it's
Um,
kind of a now thing, because otherwise you can cut your toes off.
Yeah, well, we need that as soon as we hand it off to anyone else because I can work around that because I know that that's a problem.
Right, but
And so,
yeah, okay. All right, so
and
that sounds pretty high. So why don't we slate that as the precursor to topics because a topic is going to structurally look very similar. A topic is
yeah,
going to be created by a thread and then it's going to have some motion on it. It might be merged with other topics. It might fork itself. It's basically, you know, the flow of an idea.
two threads might be interrogated by a third thread as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll start with the isolated fork as step one.
Yes.
Now it definitely starts to feel like very soon we're going to need to have some AI assisted definitions management for the dream
Well,
for these
actually, that
topics.
was you just reminded me. Back about 40 minutes in the call. Um, uh, we don't have any top level definitions. Remember, we're both saying, we've got the File Explorer and that sort of
I
thing. We
know,
don't have those defined.
right?
Where would those definitions go? Because it would certainly,
I think
I
they
think.
go in the HAL repo.
So are we calling HAL 3, rest in peace? HAL is your base thread.
Yeah, I think so. It's your home thread,
I think so as well. I
and
think so as well.
it
That's where
would
we
really be
started.
good to have a list of names that were clearly stated and agreed on by us, like home thread,
Right, because
HAL.
you were previously saying where's the ERD for the Dreamcatcher, and we've got an ERD for a Dreamcatcher, but it doesn't have a place to live.
Yeah, I
Um,
think it lives in HAL. I think it lives in the HAL repo.
yeah,
And
I agree, and I
right,
think getting the definitions of what we're talking about
right, but
allows
in it,
us
in
to allow testing against our own thinking as well
yeah,
as
I
the
know.
system
It's
itself.
like, but it needs to be AI managed requirements, because it's part of that. That's the having definitions in a dictionary, great. Project plan, roadmap, great. But all those things take a lot of time, effort, and thinking, and they're perpetually out of date. We
Oh
can
no,
only,
that part is easy enough because earlier on I showed the test gen,
mm,
which is basically saying here's what you want to do,
mm-hmm,
and here's a bunch of tests. Now, tests basically is action noun, so verb noun. So every noun that can be easily pulled out and inferred from the ERD, saying, well, okay, so this is what I think it does.
mm-hmm.
Then there's a requirement, a human step, saying, no, actually, change slightly. But it's quite easy to infer from a narrative of what you want to do, who does something, who are the things that can do stuff, and what are the things that can have done on them, and what is the stuff, what's the verb. So A does, verb to be. Um, that is easily pull outable. And TestGen does something very similar. And there's another bot created a wee while back where I was trying to get the bots to create their own bots, where you just say, right, in this narrative, this messy NL, pull out who the actors are, who the subjects are, and what the verbs are. And now you've got a bunch of entities, actor entities, non-actor entities, and actions. You can take that very easily to create an ERD.
Well, okay, so that's cool, but you need to do it. It doesn't help.
Yeah,
It doesn't
well,
help if we can't do it.
it was being done, but it's been done 3 months ago, so it's probably quite out of date.
Right, so that needs to be
But
livened again.
yeah, but that's the next step down that route. Now, what I'd suggest is selection and maintenance of the aim because we've got a very clear set of things that we need to do around testing.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess what I'm saying is there is a path that I've already trodden down, maybe 2 or 3 steps down that path.
Yeah, so what do
And it
you
seems
need for
like
me to bring it into here? Because this is basically the focus of our
yeah,
effort now is bringing in all the stuff you've been doing over the last year and hauling that into HAL as appropriate. you might need more tools from me. So, tell me what.
yeah. The big thing is on persistence of files, as for a while. It's like persistence of files, so that I can write and then commit to something. Because a lot of the
You want a PR, right? You want a pull
yeah,
request against something,
a lot
right?
of the friction is like, okay, I'm in this thread, and then I'm
Right, and you
bouncing
can't
around,
move
and it's
data
like,
between threads, right? That's what you mean when you say persistence of files?
right.
You
So you
mean
see
persistence
earlier
between
on,
threads so that you can have a shared data store between multiple threads where you
yeah,
can, right?
yeah,
Okay,
you can
all
do
right.
that.
I think you're
I
going to
can do
get
the
that
concierge.
within the next couple of days. Like that's
Yeah,
as soon as I get the branch explorer up, then you'll be able to get that very, very shortly after.
yeah,
So that's number
um,
one, right? That's number one thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
And to be honest, all the rest I can work around for now.
Mm.
Once got persistence of files, you see when I was showing you the issue that I had earlier on,
Hmm.
I was having to go back to Visual Studio and
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
back,
yeah, yeah.
backwards
Which
and
is super
forwards.
annoying. It's
That
super
one
annoying
caused
because you also can't target a bot at it to be like, read this thing and then do this other thing. It's
right.
right.
I'm constantly, mistyping, saying,
Yeah, right.
replace the contents of this file with the following, boom,
Yeah.
and then it overwrites itself, and I go,
Yeah, I
did I do that? I don't think I did that. No, that's the problem. So, um, that is the screaming priority for my part is persistence of files. So,
Cool.
yeah, so somewhere that I can stash this thing, and then go up to a completely different thread and then address it, and it's like, okay, now
Okay, buddy.
we're
I
talking this.
definitely got you there.
Brilliant, brilliant. Yeah. Okay. So we're getting quite late your time.
Yeah. I gotta, man, I still gotta, are you okay if I start a group with, the crew we were talking to the other night, and then I think
Hey,
we're
yeah,
done with this
yeah,
call, right? We're done with this call?
yeah.
Yeah, I'll stop
I've
the
got time.
recording.
I was mostly thinking about your time.